Good morning, students. Welcome back. So we are dealing with a very beautiful subject, a very relevant subject, a very happening subject, and a subject which today and for a long time will have huge scope for practice, whether it comes to your compliance practice or whether it is your litigation practice. So I'm talking about the subject of indirect tax. And as we have been seeing since past few weeks, there is a lot of buzz about the tariffs being imposed. There is a lot of discussions about how to counter it. If you all are aware of the trade policies, then government is planning to bring in a 25,000 crore export related package very soon. It is supposed to be announced. Interestingly, for the first time, you'll find that the monsoon session has been extended beyond 15th August. That is our Independence Day. Again, this also has a lot of relevance. There are some crucial bills, both on the economy side and on the security side of India, that are supposed to be taken up in this extended session. So, overall, we have great times ahead as a student of law, as a practitioner of indirect tax. So it is very important that in order to understand what changes are going to come in GST law, customs law, you have a keen focus on what is happening geopolitically. I believe now as a final student, you should develop this habit that besides only studying your subject in particular, you should now start observing those aspects around you which have a direct or indirect impact on your area of practice or on your subject of expertise. So, with this, let me start with today's deliberation. So, I welcome all of you all. Good morning to all. Let us have a rocking morning again today, and let us have again a deep dive into the subject, into the topic that we are going to discuss. Again, as a ritual, first 2 to 5 minutes, I keep open for your questions, your doubts, if any, pertaining to any of the past topics that have been covered, or any of the doubts which you feel you need to get addressed, maybe relating to this chapter, or maybe relating in general to the subject. So, 2 to 5 minutes to you all. Anybody, you may unmute and ask. Students, no doubts? Okay, chalo then. Let me start with the present topic. Now, before I start with this topic, again, let us have a build up for the chapter what we are going to discuss. Now, you all have heard this, read this, studied this everywhere that GST is a destination based consumption tax. Fine. I have a interesting question, and whoever answers me correctly, I'll give you a chocolate for this. You have to tell me the section, the rule, the notification, the circular, anything related to law where that provision of the law says that GST is a destination based consumption tax. In short, I want you to give me the specific section number, rule number, or anything in the law like notification circular which uses this word destination or consumption, or uses the phrase destination based consumption? Anybody?
No, sir. Nowhere it is mentioned the destination based tax.
You're sure?
Yes, sir.
You have checked so fast, Swaminathan. You have checked so fast.
Yes, sir.
This is a chocolate question. This is not a regular question. So if you are correct, chocolate will be delivered to you. So be sure.
Yes, sir. Nowhere it is mentioned. It is a destination based tax.
Okay, chalo. So this is Swaminathan's views. I'll request others to share the view on this, your view on this.
Generally, where the goods are get consumed, it is where
Uh,
the GST gets attracted and collected by that state. So that's why we will be saying that GST is a destination based charges, but I don't think so. It is anyway mentioned in the law.
okay, I'll just make one correction in what you said. Baki, everything you have said is perfect. You said it will be collected there, right? So technically that does not happen. So let us say I am from Delhi and you are from Maharashtra and I am supplying goods or service to you in Maharashtra. Correct? Now in this particular case, whether tax will be collected by Maharashtra, answer is no. Tax I will pay to Delhi only, means in short, I'll not pay even to Delhi, but I will pay the tax, the entire tax, which will now be, I'm sure you all know, IGST, will go to central government. So central government is collecting it. And then on the basis of which is the destination or consumption state, it will distribute the half, that is the S portion, to that state. So just slight correction, Yogesh. It is not collected by the state where you are consuming. Fine?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Yes, Swaminathan. You have
Yes,
unmuted
sir.
yourself. Tell
Yeah.
me.
Say example. Um, where there is a supply of service. See,
Hmm.
both the recipient and the supplier are in India, and service provided in outside India. In
Hmm.
that case, the place of supply will be considered as the location of the recipient. In that
Okay.
case, the destination is not there actually. Likewise, there are
Okay.
so many places the destination is not there. At the place
Okay.
of supplier itself, it will be called as a place of supply in many cases. Like that, there are
So
some
then,
of the
then
examples.
if you are giving these examples, then do you mean to say GST is not a destination-based tax? Do you mean to say it
I
is so?
Yeah, I mean to say that the destination based tax is not mentioned in anywhere in the act. That is what I am coming to say.
Okay, nay, but then these examples that you gave, you see, as a lawyer, I am inferring it as if you are trying to now give a counter view on this, because your examples indirectly point towards this conclusion that GST is not a destination-based tax, because in all these cases, as you rightly pointed out, the you use some word place of supply is not the destination. So is your argument, is your submission heading towards this point that it is not a destination based tax?
There are some exceptions. That's what I'm saying. There
Okay,
is
so you are only highlighting the exceptions.
yeah. It is not always the destination based tax. I'm
Okay,
telling
so
you
it
that.
is not always.
Yes.
So in short, if I'm inferring your conclusion, or if I'm, let us say, summarizing what you are saying, so you want to say it is a destination based tax, though not always, and nowhere it is mentioned in the law that it is a destination based tax.
Exactly, sir. This is what my interpretation is.
Super, great. What about others?
So for the above example, I would say that since it is an export, then India won't have any control over the territory which is not under his control, right? He won't have any right. So he
Mm-hmm.
is just collecting taxes from the supplier who is supplying the services,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be also knowing that okay, this much amount of tax is supplying the services. Turnover will be knowing by that also. 0.1% का मत काइंड ऑफ आरटीएम में जब आपने बोला था ना कि है ना नहीं कि जब रिसीवर से अपन पूरा नहीं ले सकते तो सप्लायर के पास है ना नहीं इजी
Mm-hmm.
टू कलेक्ट होता है तो सेम
Correct.
केस विल बी एप्लीकेबल फॉर द एक्सपोर्ट आल्सो कि एक्सपोर्टर के पास बाहर से तो अपन कलेक्ट नहीं कर सकते ना तो इट विल
Mm.
बी इजी फॉर द सप्लायर सो यहाँ पे सप्लायर
So
को
again, if I'm inferring it correctly, what you are saying, you are now borrowing or you are uh, uh, taking this from the examples given by Swaminathan, that in case of buyer seller inside India but
यस
service
सर
provided outside India. Okay,
यस सर
fine, ठीक है. Again, I would like to correct you because in case of export, if you say it is export, there is anyways no tax because the tax is zero rated, the supply is zero rated, so effectively there will be no tax. Correct? But fine, anyways, no problem. We'll develop this concept. So see, my purpose of asking is I want to make some fundamentals very clear for two reasons. One is for your complete understanding of the subject so that whenever you are applying it, it is correct. And two, I want you all to have a good arguing skill or good presentation skills because students observe this and remember this in present professional world. Besides having a thorough knowledge, what is now equally very important is having a proper presentation, or I'll say how you place your point. So, in some discussion, in some argument, how you are putting your point on the forum is equally important because that many times is a decisive factor. Okay, if anybody wants to add anything, you may add, and then I'll go to the next part in this. Anybody wants to add something to this? No? Great. So, as rightly pointed out by Swaminathan and Yogesh both, that nowhere in the law, when I say law, I'm not saying act. When I say law, I mean act, rules, notifications, circulars, everything which is coming in the domain of law. Nowhere in the law the words destination based consumption tax are used, neither independently any of these words are used. So then the question is really a GST a destination based tax? Question one. Two, if you say yes, how it is being then applied if these words are not used? Three, why are these words not used if you really want to make GST a destination based tax? So if you have understood these three answers, let me start answering one by one. Is GST a destination based tax? Answer is yes. It is a destination based tax. It is a consumption based tax. But interestingly, wherever you have read, they will never use destination and consumption independently. So they have very smartly coined a phrase called as destination based consumption tax. So now indirectly, somewhere wherever, see, first it is these phrases are not used in law, but wherever they are used, even on government flyers, wherever you read, you'll find these phrases. They are very smartly not use independent phrases. Point number one. Why? That is the answer for my third question. Second point is, from where is this rule, if I have to say, coming out that your indirect tax should be a destination base? So, again, to answer this, let me first inform you, if you all are by chance not aware of this, that prior to GST, the erstwhile indirect tax laws, now majorly, what were they? Excise, service tax, and VAT. Customs, anyways, is continuing today. So, when you observe these indirect tax laws prior to GST, whether they were destination based, again a question comes. Now, interestingly, in this, we all know that prior to GST, the laws were independent, means Your central had their independent taxes like excise, like service tax. State had their independent taxes like VAT, and in on few goods, state excise. Now, interestingly, if you observe minutely, you will find that the earlier state taxes were all origin based, like VAT and all these. There was no question of central taxes being origin or destination. Why? Because wherever in India you purchase or you supply goods or services, they would be leviable to the same central tax like central excise, like service tax. So there was no question of determining where the tax was going, means what was the destination, because it was going to center only. But yes, when it comes to international trade, again this point becomes important, and that is where customs law comes into picture. So we all know customs law, which is also part of our syllabus, will be studying after completing the entire GST law. You will observe, you'll find that even in case of customs, you have the concept of destination. Now this gives us a hint as to why we are having destination concept in GST. So basically, in 1990s, you all know India became open economy. We shifted to global economy rather than a closed economy. And since then, we have come under WTO and GATT principles, and that is where we are bound by these international, you can say, not laws, but international uh, bodies. So once India is member of WTO, India is part of the GATT, you have to follow whatever are the you can say suggestions or recommendation by these bodies. And on those lines, we have to, I'll use the word have, not may. So we have to design our taxes. Now, since the time India became a member country of this, they had given us clear cut instructions that you have to reform your taxation, specifically indirect, because that is what applies or affects the international trade. And they wanted us to align it on the lines of international principles. And this is how we come to the provision or to the concept of destination. But having said this, then the question will come, then why for VAT laws we did not have destination? The answer was simple, because international implications or rules did not have impact on domestic taxes. Reason being, if you are doing within your country anything, the international bodies are least concerned or least bothered. And that is how you will find that even in case of customs, we rarely have export duties, but we majorly have all import duties. Same applies with other countries also, that import duty everyone is charging. Export duties they are selectively charging. In fact, export duties wherever is charged is basically charged because you want to restrict or prohibit that particular goods trade. Otherwise, export duties are never charged. One reason obviously is promoting exports, but another reason is also to match with the destination concept or principle. Now, when India decided to bring GST, they again had this opportunity to realign our domestic taxes with the international principles. And why again this was necessary? Because we are seeing that we want India to become a global destination. Today also, we are fighting hard that many manufacturing units should shift to India. India should become manufacturing hub for the world, like how China is, like how Vietnam, Cambodia, these even small countries are. So we want India also to become that manufacturing hub. But when that will be possible, when all these foreign investors will find comfort with our Indian laws, and one of the major laws affecting them is obviously taxation. That is where we are working on different fronts to bring different changes in the laws. Now, when GST came in, when GST, I'll use the word kicked in, a very big challenge was that now we wanted to make a centralized law. Centralized, or let me change the word, a common law for the entire country, that this transaction anywhere India would be taxed like this only, this rate, this value, etc. And that is how GST was brought in. But again, when GST was brought in, if you know the initial phase of GST, the biggest challenge was by those states who were majorly manufacturing states but less in consumption. Like you'll find that many southern states who are very rich in textile businesses. So you'll find that a major part of manufacturing, like I'll give you a very small example, a very small place in Tamil Nadu called as Tirupur is today one of the leading manufacturers of India and now even one of the major exporters of India. That one small place, it is a small city, Tirupur in Tamil Nadu for garments, for all these hosiery goods like t-shirts, etc. So similarly, you'll find that South Belt was very rich. Even today, it is rich for their textile manufacturing. Even the Kerala side for all these um, Ayurvedic products, for all these things like different types of masalas and things. Similarly, other northern eastern states, they were having manufacturing setups. They were rich in many of these agriculture based products. Now all these they were supplying across India. And before GST, since the VAT was origin based tax, they were getting the tax despite of their supplying outside their state, so their state was getting good revenue. This was one of the biggest impediment which was obstructing the smooth implementation of GST, because GST now we had decided that we will align with international provisions, so we will make it destination based. The moment you say destination based means what? This same transaction done by Tirupur, let us say with a person sitting in Mumbai like me, somebody from you who is from Tirupur or from Tamil Nadu is selling me those garment products and I'm buying it sitting in Mumbai, then in this particular case, the challenge, the question, or the problem was that now Tamil Nadu state, which is now the supplier, the manufacturer state, will not get the revenue of the S portion. And that is where many of these states objected. Hence, as a solution to that, we brought in the concept of compensation to states cess, and we gave 5 years period. He was up till 5 years. Whatever is your revenue loss because of introduction of GST, we will be compensating you through this compensation concept. But beyond 5 years, which ended in 2022, you have to be self-sufficient and you have to manage your own taxes and your own revenue. Now, this is the background how in GST we reach to the concept, to the principle of destination or consumption tax. Now comes the point which Swaminathan highlighted, that even today, after saying all this, after saying we are bound by international principles and all, still in many cases, you will find that the tax is not destination. That is where the question number 2 and 3 comes in, that whether exactly really GST is destination, 2, why the word destination is not used, and 3, that what was the problem in making it completely destination based. So let us answer these questions. Now in these questions, the point is, yes, conceptually GST is made destination based to align with international principles, but then why you find these some exceptions where at least you will not feel, or at least you'll not see the tax being destination based. So here there is a very important point which I want everybody to understand and appreciate. What is exactly destination? This is the main point. The point, or I'll say the concern is, or the question mark or the doubt is that we are considering physical destination. Now that is why with the destination they have started using the word consumption. I'll give a simple example. I am a person from Maharashtra. You are a supplier from Delhi, and I ask you to perform a service for me in Goa. Now, interestingly, you are providing the service to me, but I have asked you to perform the service in Goa. See, we are going to take practical examples of all these in respective sections, but I want to first create a strong foundation for this concept. Now, in this example, the question is, what is destination? In this, we will have a feel that the destination is Goa. Why? Because we are looking at the physical destination. Hence the other word consumption. Now, if I am asking you that forget about destination, tell me what is the place of consumption of these services, or where the services are being consumed, then maybe there will be a doubt or confusion, because consumption has to be done by a person. Now the person is from Maharashtra. Services are performed in Goa. So where is the consumption? Then there may be a different answer. You will say, Acha, maybe consumption will be Maharashtra. Why? Because the recipient is Maharashtra. So understand this, that our purpose is not to look at the physical destination always, specifically when it will come to services, because services are something intangible, invisible. So there is nothing physicality in services. Then how can we take the physical part of service destination to decide the tax implications? And hence, I feel that purposefully they have used this phrase destination based consumption tax, so that they are trying to involve both. Now, coming back to our point, why have they not used the term destination tax? Answer is just to avoid this problem. Had they used in the law the word destination and still made the principles what we are going to study, there would have been internal conflict, because surely, like in the example what Swaminathan gave and similar example what I am discussing, if I have to make the place of supply as the place of recipient, that is Maharashtra, though physically the services are being carried out, performed in Goa, there will be a very big question mark as to whether there is some mistake in the law. Hence, to avoid that, hence to avoid internal conflict, they smartly chose not to use the word destination. Otherwise, here this chapter could have been called as destination of supply or place of consumption. But they purposefully, intentfully, they avoided these words and they coined a deeming provision. So, this place of supply, you can say, is the version of destination, is the version of consumption. But version means actually it may not be your physical destination. It may not be the actual place of consumption. Still, the law has to be made. I'll give you another example of this. Let us say I am traveling from Mumbai to Delhi by train. Now, this journey is a whole 15-18 hours journey. So, obviously, within this whole journey, I will be buying something, I'll be consuming something. So, I buy a packed some commodity, obviously eatable, which I buy when I'm boarding the train at Mumbai. But I consume it when the train had already crossed Maharashtra and let us say entered MP, for example, if it is going through MP or Rajasthan, wherever from where it is going. And I consumed half of that box there. Then I again closed the box, kept it. After 4 or 5 hours, when again the train was in some other state physically, I consumed the remaining part. And then finally, I reached Delhi. Some part of these packed items I had purchased to give it as gift to my friends in Delhi. So those things I carried to Delhi and gave it there. So in this example, even if you decide ki no, I want to take the physical destination, it will be impossible, because determining the physical destination, like in cases like this, and there would be multiple like such examples, would be impossible. Why it will be impossible? Let us even understand this. See, when the tax has to be decided, it has to be decided when I go to the shop to buy those items. When I go to the shop, I buy the items from a shop in Mumbai, because after that I am boarding the train. Now, in this particular case, at that time itself, you have to determine everything, the time, the place, the value, so that the tax can be charged. At that time, the supplier who is going to make the invoice and going to determine everything knows nothing. Okay, not even the supplier, even the recipient, that is me who is buying from this shop, knows nothing as to where I will consume this. That I have not decided. That depends upon when I'll feel hungry. At that time, I'll consume, and it is not even decided how much, where I will consume. So, in such cases, it will be impossible to determine the correct nature of supply, the correct destination or consumption place of supply. Hence, because of these practical challenges, the law thoughtfully decided to avoid the words destination consumption and bring in this phrase place of supply. So place of supply, you can say, is what is representing destination consumption. And since you have now used a different term instead of destination, instead of consumption, so you get a leverage, the lawmakers get a leverage to even bring artificial places as place of supply or artificial states as place of supply, which may not be the real place of consumption. But why artificial? I already gave example, because it may not be practically possible to determine place of supply, or it may be confusing at times to determine place of supply. So to cater to all these practical problems, they thoughtfully used this type of artificial concept, which now allows them the scope to include all these or anything as place of supply. So this is the whole conceptual background of place of supply. Any questions on this, students? Students, any questions on this? No? Okay. Now, as you can see here, for the first time, any chapter which you are studying is exclusively based on IGST. Until now, or even in further chapters, whatever you study is majorly from the CGST Act and obviously parallelly SGST. Here, whatever we are going to study, just keep in mind it will be majorly from IGST, because place of supply is a chapter added in the IGST Act. Correct? Now, whatever we discussed, these are some practical examples as to why the physical place can be difficult, or how determining the actual destination could be a challenge. So there are so many things in one transaction. There is one location of service provider, another there is location of recipient, third there is place of performance, fourth there is place of consumption, then fifth there could be the person who is actually benefiting from this particular transaction, who is called as beneficiary. His or her place could be even different. And then proxies for determining. So this is what is the point, proxies. So basically, since there are so many different places, instead of taking the most appropriate place or the actual or correct place, we will be taking proxies, because otherwise you will never be able to determine the place of supply, and most importantly, you will not be able to implement it. That is main challenge, or that is the main purpose of making this a deeming fiction. Then separate rules for determining place of supply in respect of B2B and B2C. Now this is again important. So I'm sure everybody by now knows what is B2B. B2B stands for business to business. B2C stands for business to customer. So basically, when I am making a supply to another registered person, we call it as B2B. And when my supply is to some unregistered person, we call it as B2C. This is what is the difference. So business to business and business to customer. Here it means registered to registered and registered to unregistered. Now, interestingly, what this caption suggests, that whenever you are making supplies to a registered person, you know the general rule. The general rule, this will find more in services, because for service there is more challenge in determining the actual physical place. The place of supply in case of services, in case of B2B transactions, is the recipient when he is registered. And in B2C, where recipient is not identifiable, or I'll say the place of recipient is not identifiable, or it is a challenge because he is not registered, then the law is so designed to say that, okay, in such cases, take the supplier's place only as place of supply. So see, within the same law, they have tried to bifurcate on the basis of whether the transaction is with registered or unregistered. So these are some criterions which are used in the law to determine various place of supplies. Now, these are some definitions which will be coming back as we come back on the provisions of different place of supplies. Wherever these would be required, we will be coming back, like for example, definition of continuous journey, export of goods, service, fixed establishment, import of goods, service, intermediary, and then the definition of location of recipient. All these things we will be coming back as and when needed. Then this is again an important concept. We'll be coming to this when we determine place of supply of this, that is OIDER services. Just I'll first read those definitions which you require immediately. So remember, we are studying IGST Act. So what is place of business? A place of business, a place of business includes a place from where business is normally carried on. So firstly, it is your shop. It is that place from where you are doing business, like your office. But then it further says it will be including a warehouse or godown. We all understand what it is. And secondly, any other place where you store your goods. So basically, godown, warehouse names are given. Further, they say if there is any other place besides godown, warehouse, that will also be included. Then it says where a taxable person sources goods, supplies the goods, or receives the goods or service. So in short, mainly the place from where the business is actually carried on. Then comes the second part. They say that place of business will also include your place where books are maintained. Means what? It will be your corporate offices. Though your corporate office may not be making any supplies, but since it is maintaining books, that is where it will become your place of business. And third, where a taxable person is engaged through an agent, it will be the place of the agent as well. So all these places are your place of business. Supply, they are saying you have to go to section 7 of the CGST Act. So they are not defining supply again. Recipient, we know recipient in GST means if the supply is with consideration, it will be the person liable to pay the consideration. And where the supply is without consideration, that is Schedule 1 supplies, it is that person who is actually getting the goods or who is actually getting the service. So this is how recipient is defined. Then supplier is defined to mean a person who is actually supplying the goods and will include the agent of such a supplier. And then this bold part is exclusively for online gaming, where it says the person who is organizing the online gaming will be the supplier. So in short, it simply says the online gaming companies are considered as suppliers with respect to online gaming. And then this generic point, words and expressions that are used in this act but not defined shall be taken from the CGST Act. Okay. Now, place of supply provisions under the IGST Act are divided in 4 provisions. Section 10, 11, 12, 13. How are these divided? 10 and 11 deal with place of supply for domestic and international transaction of goods, and 13 and 14 deals with place of supply for domestic and international transaction for services. So we have 2 provisions for determining place of supply for goods transaction, 10 domestic, 11 import export, and similarly further 2 provisions for determining place of supply for service transactions, 12 for domestic transactions, 13 for international transactions. Here I have not used the word import of service or export of service. So this is again a difference. In case of services, international transaction of service and the it being import export are 2 different things that you will understand when we go there. So you have section 10, which deals with place of supply for goods transaction, and these section 10 deals with domestic. How? The heading says place of supply of goods other than supply of goods which are imported or exported. So except for import export transactions, the place of supply will be determined like this. Correct? Now, since this is not catering to import export transactions, let us first understand what is import and export of goods. Services will deal when we go to 12 and 13. Now, interestingly, when you come to the definition of import and export, you will find that firstly, this definition is borrowed from the customs law, and there is a very interesting aspect to this. Swaminathan, can you please read for me the definition of import of goods?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Import of goods. 1 minute. Okay. With its grammatical variation and cognate expression means bringing goods into India from a place outside India. The definition is again similar to the definition of import under Customs Act 1962.
Go ahead.
Yeah. In Kiran spinning mills and CC in 1999
And
case,
versus, V stands for
yeah,
versus.
versus CC 99, Supreme Court three members bench, it has been held that import is completed only when goods cross the custom barrier. In Gordon Silk Milk Limited, UOI case, the Supreme Court three-member bench, it has been held that import of goods in India commences when they enter into territorial water but continues and it's completed when the goods became part of the mass of goods within the country.
Great. Now, what is very interesting is first is the main definition part, and they have also clarified that is taken from the customs law. Over there also you'll find the same definition. It says that what will import mean? It will mean physically goods coming to India. That is most important. So goods should physically come to India. And then in these cases, this will discuss detail in customs law. It has been slightly modified to say not only physically coming into India, but also it should be cleared by the customs. So in short, only when the goods physically enter India, firstly, it should enter from a place outside India into India. And then secondly, it should be cleared by the customs, then import happens. And similarly, parallel is the definition of exports. Please read.
Yes, sir. Export of goods with its grammatical variation and cognate expression means taking goods out of India to a place outside India. Section subsection 5 of section 2.
No, it is
That
never subsection, it is clause. Whenever you are reading definition, it is always clause.
clause 5 of section 2. This definition is similar to definition of export given under Customs Act 1962.
Perfect. Now, interestingly, we are defining export of goods, but the similar definition under customs is only of export. We are defining import of goods, but the similar definition under customs is only of import. This is again an interesting difference. Why? Because in case of customs, there is nothing like import export of service because they don't deal with services. But GST law has to deal with both export of goods, export of service. So customs only defines export, we define export of goods, export of service. Custom only defines import, we define import of goods, import of service. Just for your interest, I'm just highlighting some interesting points of observation. Now, again here, the concept is similar to the concept of import. Here also you require physical movement of goods outside India. So wherever there is physical movement from outside to inside, that is import, or from inside to outside, that is export. Section 10 covers transactions other than this. So where there is no such physical coming into India or going out of India. So in short, basically we are talking about the domestic transactions. Now, how is the section crafted? So we have different clauses A, B, C, A, D, E. These different clauses are going to define place of supply for different scenarios. So we have different situations. For different situations, different provisions are made. Now, how does the section starts? Section 10 bracket 1 says the place of supply other than of goods imported into or exported of India shall be. So it has said, boss, whatever is physical place, forget that. You have to take these as the place of supply. So again, I'll repeat the same point. We are taking or we are now deciding our destination on deeming basis. Deeming means it need not be that these are your physical destinations, but fine, it will be treated at, it has to be treated as your place of supply. Now, clause A, clause B. These two clauses will determine place of supply wherever there is movement. And C, CA are basically dealing with those transactions where there is no movement. And D and E are dealing with some very specific situations. So this is how you have 6 clauses of place of supply. Correct? Now, A and B are dealing with transactions wherever there is a actual movement of goods. Then the question is, what is the difference between A and B? The difference is A deals with the transaction where there are only two parties. B deals with the transaction where there are more than two parties, which we call as bill to, ship to. So we'll understand firstly place of supply of these two, then we'll proceed. Yes, Swaminathan. Can you please read clause A for me?
Yes, sir. Clause A of subsection 1 of section 10, where the supply involves movement of goods, whether by the supplier or the recipient or by any other person. The place of supply of such goods shall be the location of the goods at the time at which the movement of goods terminates for delivery to the recipient.
Now, interesting points. So in case of domestic transaction where the supply is involving movement, it says, firstly, to give you the conclusion, the place of supply is the location of goods. Which location of goods? Where it further says, at the time at which the movement of the goods terminates for delivery. So you can simply say it is the location of delivery of the goods. This is the conclusion. Now we'll understand this with few examples, and then we'll also see what are the different carve-outs. So what it says, the points here are, you are a supplier. Let us say you are a factory situated in Salem, Tamil Nadu. I am another factory. I am situated in Bikaner, Rajasthan. You are manufacturing some aluminium parts which I require. So I place order on you. You are going to dispatch the goods from your factory in Salem to my factory in Bikaner. We are in different states. Now in this particular case, how the place of supply has to be determined? So you apply 10.1. 10.1 says that the place of supply will be, in short, despite of whatever is given, the shortest and the simplest answer is, it is the location of delivery. Now, in this transaction, the movement starts from Salem and it terminates at Bikaner. There, the place of supply as per 10.1a is Bikaner. Second case scenario in this. Same example, the only difference is you say, Ki boss, I will not arrange the transport. I am selling you the goods. It is your headache how you take the goods. So I arrange a transport whereby my transporter picks up the goods from your factory and brings to my factory. So it may be transporter or I may be sending my own truck, which will be collecting the goods from you and bringing it to my factory in Bikaner. Now, in this particular scenario, there was a lot of confusion at the start of GST law that where does this terminates? What the language? The time at which movement of goods terminates for delivery to recipient. This whole phrase created a lot of challenges, lot of confusion. However, now it has been accepted even by the GST department that whenever the goods are being delivered, transported, and they are sent to another place, irrespective of, now that is what you will find here, who is making the movement, whether the movement is made by the supplier, my first example, or the movement is made by the recipient, the second example, or by any other person. Like, interestingly, you'll say, sir, who is this any other person? So any other person could be my agent whom I have appointed to do this. Or nowadays, in case of online transactions, it is even more interesting. I am the recipient, you are the supplier, but who is doing this movement? That movement is done by the online app. So whoever does the movement is not important. the place of supply will always be the place of termination of delivery, or simple words, place of delivery of these goods. This is what is 10.1a. Now, if anybody has any queries or questions, please put it across so that we can have a discussion on this and we can move forward. Yes, students, any queries, questions on this before we move forward?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Please tell me.
Sir, actually, I was questioning about the online delivery platforms.
ठीक है.
Sir, in that, what would be the destination for those?
See, firstly, for
Where will
online,
be the
we'll have to see whether your recipient is unregistered, because where the supply of goods is made to a person who is unregistered, which is generally the case in online scenario, the answer will
Yes.
be CA. But in any case, CA also gives the same answer. So it is the place of delivery. So let us say you are a supplier from Ludhiana,
Okay, sir.
and I am booking or I am purchasing a leather jacket through any online app. Let us say it is Amazon. I book a jacket, and you are the supplier who are listed on the same Amazon app. In fact, the jacket which is I have booked, it is what is going to be supplied by you. Correct. Now, in this case, I place the order with Amazon. You are still not knowing that there is any such order. Amazon informs you that okay, this of your jacket has been booked. So Amazon will arrange to send someone to pick up that jacket from your shop, your factory. Amazon will bring it to its warehouse, do the packing, do the tagging, and it will arrange to deliver it to my place. It may be my house, it may be my office, wherever, whatever address I have put. Now, in this whole scenario, the case comes in 10.1 CA. That is where the recipient is unregistered. Again, what it says, the place of supply shall, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in A or C, be the location as per the address of the said person recorded in the invoice. So, in simple words, it is again my address, the recipient's address as per the invoice. So, on invoice, whatever is the address written, that will be the place of supply. So again, by default, it will be similar to 10.1a. So 10.1a now indirectly, though it is not so saying, because of 10.1 CA, now 10.1a can be interpreted as for registered persons cases and 10.1 CA for unregistered persons cases.
Okay, sir. Sir, but another question of mine that there are some supplies on which invoices are not made, so that will not be covered in GST. Okay.
See, firstly, question is why invoices are not made?
So bill of supply
So
composition.
whenever it is bill of supply, answer is same. See, here you have to read invoice in a generic sense. Here, invoice does not mean a tax invoice. See, there are two invoices in GST. One is the tax invoice and one is the bill of supply. Now, here they have not used the word tax invoice. They have used the word invoice. So, where only term invoice is used, it should be read generically to mean invoice, that is tax invoice, and plus bill of supply. So, for both, see, place of supply answer remains same, whether you make a tax invoice or a bill of supply, right?
Oh, okay, sir.
Correct. No? So, I hope you got the answer for your question.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, sir.
Perfect.
Sir, I need to check my understanding of the class number A.
Tell me.
Sir, here the thing is that the supplier is at Delhi, the recipient is Mumbai. In this case, there are three possibilities are there, where the involve movement of goods, whether by the supplier. Supplier himself is taking the goods and providing the supplies to the recipient location.
Correct. First
Um,
possibility. Correct.
First possibility. And second possibility, The supply recipient himself involved the movement of goods. He is taking the goods from Delhi to Mumbai, Maharashtra. And third possibilities is that where that goods is given to somebody else, which means the transporter is given the GT or somebody else, any other person. They are taking the goods and providing to the place of Maharashtra. In
Correct.
this case, all this case, that delivery is terminates at the place of Maharashtra. So
Correct.
in this case, the class A is talks about the recipient place will be the place of supply in any
Correct.
cases. My understanding is correct, sir.
100% correct.
See, I am thinking that when the moment that I am thinking. So initially, I was thinking that the person, the seller, which means supplier, is moving the goods to Mumbai, then that will be a recipient place, the place of supply. The other cases, when the person, the supplier, recipient himself is taking from Delhi or from other person, the place of supply will be the Delhi.
Why?
Because,
Why? Why?
no, no. See, I was under the assumption
Okay.
that the thing is that since the moment the supplier is not relieving, no, he himself. So the only that the recipient only is taking the goods from Delhi. That was my it was my assumption earlier.
That's why I'm saying this was a confusion at the start everywhere. So that's why I started with that. I explained that this was a confusion, but now it has been clarified. So now this is no more a challenge. Everybody has accepted this, that even in cases like what you are mentioning, the deliveries are done not by the supplier but by any other person. The place of supply still is that of the recipient. So in all the three scenarios, it will be Mumbai, Maharashtra.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Fine, students. So with 1A, we have also indirectly covered 1CA. So let me then complete 1CA. So what does 1CA says? Where supply of goods is made to a person other than registered, the place of supply shall, notwithstanding anything contained in clause A, C, B, the location as per the address of the said person recorded in the invoice. So what is very important? In cases of unregistered supplies, where unregistered supply means where the recipient is unregistered, the place of supply will be the address on the invoice of the recipient issued in respect of the said supply and the location of supplier where the address of said person is not recorded. So second thing what it is saying, in case there is no address of the recipient on the invoice, then it will be place of supplier. However, there is an interesting point. Explanation. For the purpose of this clause, recording the name of the state of the said person in the invoice shall be deemed to be recording the address. In short, what they are trying to clarify, it is not necessary that you write the complete address. Even if you have written Vishal Poddar, Maharashtra, that will be sufficient and that would be considered as address, and because of which you will be treating Maharashtra as the place of supply. So the point is, wherever supplies are made to unregistered, so basically this is more applicable. This is specifically applicable in two cases. One, as I said, online supplies, which are mainly to unregistered. Two, when I go to a shop, I simply, like you are going daily to shops, different for buying different things. You simply go there. You simply say, okay, I want a piece of or a packet of bread and butter and cheese. Nothing else you mention. You pay the amount and he gives you that printed bill through his machine. That's it. Nothing is asked, nothing is mentioned. In such cases, what would be the place of supply? Because tomorrow I may be carrying the bread, jam, etc. and I board a train and I go to some other place. So there was a question as to what will happen on in these cases. This is called as over-the-counter sales, where you don't ask the buyer as to where are you from, what is your address. They are least bothered. So they simply record it as cash sales without recording any details of the recipient. Many times you do not even record my name because that is not required. You are writing it as a cash sale. So for such cases, this new provision was introduced just a year back, which has now clarified that even for such cases, the place of supply is recipient's address. And here they are further added. So the only requirement now the supplier will have is at least he should ask the state and he should mention. If he's not writing anything, like I'm saying, he's only writing cash sales, nothing, then the place of supply is the location of supplier itself, that is the shop. But even if he writes the name of the state, then that state will become the place of supply. So this is 1A, 1CA. Now we come to an interesting provision which is in 1B. Swaminathan, please read for me.
Yes, sir. Class B, subsection 1 of section 10, where the goods are delivered by the supplier to a recipient or any other person on the direction of the third person, whether acting as an agent or otherwise, before or during movement of goods, either by way of transfer of documents of title to the goods or otherwise, it shall be deemed that the said third person has received the goods and the place of supply of such goods shall be the principal place of business of such person.
Okay. Now what is interesting is this transaction is called as bill to ship to transaction. Now first understand what is a bill to ship to transaction. So let us say I am the supplier and Yogesh wants to buy some goods from me. Let us say Yogesh is based out in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. I am from Mumbai, Maharashtra. Now, Yogesh has further received order from Swaminathan. Let us say he is from Hyderabad. So Swaminathan gave order to Yogesh, and the same thing Yogesh is getting the order fulfilled from me. Now, since Yogesh has given me the order, I should send the goods to Yogesh place. However, Yogesh informs me saying that sir, you do not deliver the goods to my address. I am giving you another address. You deliver the goods there. Now, such transactions are called as bill to ship to transaction. Why it is bill to ship to? Because in this case, I am billing to Yogesh, but on his specific instructions, the goods are delivered to Swaminathan. So now there are three parties involved. Bill to party is Yogesh, ship to party is Swaminathan. Here, if I apply 1A, the answer or the place of supply would be Hyderabad. That is the place of delivery. However, importantly, interestingly, understand this, the place is now Yogesh's place as the place of supply, not Swaminathan's place as the place of supply. So what is interesting deviation? Why we required 1B separately? Because the 1B has changed the entire answer. As per 1A, the place should be Swaminathan's place, that is the place of delivery. But as per 1B, it is becoming Yogesh's place, which is the bill to address. Now, I believe there are some, I cannot say there are mistakes, but there is some improper drafting because they have used a term third person. Now, see, generally as a common language, when we use this word third person, in my present example, how it will be understood that I am the first person, Yogesh, who is the buyer, is the second person, and Swaminathan is a third person. However, here they have used this reference of third person referring to Yogesh. So here, Yogesh, who is the actual buyer of these goods, is referred as third person. Why I'm clarifying this? Because when you see the answer, you see that it shall be deemed that the said third person has received the goods and place of supply of such goods shall be the principal base of such person. Such person means the third person. Now, when you read this, you first get an impression they are talking about Swaminathan, that is the place of delivery, because generally in our day-to-day language, we'll refer Swaminathan in this transaction as a third person because the main transaction is between Vishal and Yogesh. However, this is not the case. It is actually Yogesh who is referred over here as the third person. Okay, so Pitambar, I've already, I think, answered your question. Yes, Swaminathan, please.
Sorry, even I had the same impression that why that recipient is called as third person. When I am studying that example, I could not understand. But because no, first person will be the supplier, second person will be the recipient, that
Buyer.
who
Let
is
us now call it as buyer.
a buyer. The third person will be the on the because the direction of that buyer, the supplier is giving the goods to the third person. That is called third person always. But even I confused when I'm reading the first time on this class.
That is why I clarified this, because this is how we all read it for the first time. Because that's why I said, na, in our general day-to-day language usage, we will read it accordingly. Right? Understood? So this is how, that is why I cannot say that it is a mistake, but this is how somehow the lawmakers have thought it correct to draft it. And you will understand this why third person over here is not Swaminathan, that is the place of delivery, but the place, the third person is the buyer only. Because see, it says it shall be deemed that the said person has received the goods. So, had this third person been Swaminathan, they would not have used the word deemed received, because actually Swaminathan is receiving. But what they are saying, it is though actually received by Swaminathan, we are deeming, or we will deem that it is received or it has been received by the actual buyer. That is what they are trying to say. Correct?
Right, sir. I need to understand what is the logic behind of this section, this clause B, sir. See, suppose if the place of supply is considered the recipient, the third party,
Hmm.
then in the class for the class A,
Mm-hmm.
see, I want to understand what is the logic behind of section class B, sir.
Yes. I know, because once you understand first this third person gets clarified, then obviously this question comes, that what is the logic? Because see, again, we will like to hear that the place of supply is the place of delivery, right? Now, firstly, when you read this, you will feel that yes, it is the place of delivery only, because third person, we are reading it as an outsider. That is in my case, Swaminathan. But now, if I clarify, no, third person is not Swaminathan, it is the actual buyer who is referred as third person. And I have justified why it is, because they are saying he will be deemed to have been received. So that obviously Swaminathan cannot be said to be deemed to have been received. In fact, he has actually received. So basically, they are not talking about Swaminathan. So they are talking about the buyer. They are saying that we are deeming that the buyer is receiving. Now the question is, why? Because we would have liked the answer, we would have understood the answer if they would have actually said Swaminathan as the place of supply, because Swaminathan is actually receiving. But it is not so. Why? So for this, we will have to first understand that actually there are two transactions. One between me and Yogesh, where I am supplier, Yogesh is buyer. And then second, it is between Yogesh and Swaminathan, where Yogesh is supplier and Swaminathan is the buyer. If you understand this, then will come the next point of understanding the main part. What is that? Between me and Yogesh, the place of supply is Yogesh. Then the second transaction will come, which is between Yogesh and Swaminathan, where 1A will get applied because 1B is not applicable here. 1A will get applied, and in such cases, the place of supply will now be Swaminathan's place. So effectively, finally, your wish is fulfilled. The place of supply is of Swaminathan only, but not in 1B. Now the question is, why 1B is required? Because once you understand that there are going to be two invoices, and actually there will be. For me, Swaminathan, I don't know. It is for me only a place of delivery. It is the ship to address. I don't know who is there. So I am raising invoice on Yogesh only. I have to take money from Yogesh. Now, when I'm charging GST to Yogesh, he should get the input tax credit. Keeping that in mind, they have made Yogesh's place as the place of supply in 1B so that Yogesh gets the ITC. Now, when the second invoice is raised by Yogesh to Swaminathan, Yogesh will utilize this ITC. He can knock off this ITC, and on his invoice, now he's again charging GST to Swaminathan, and where the place of supply is Swaminathan's place as per 1A. So finally, the tax will go to Hyderabad, which is the correct destination, but via 1B and 1A. This is how 1B is finalized. Understood now, Swaminathan?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else still has a question? Anybody still has a doubt?
Sir, what is actually meant by the tax will go to Hyderabad? Is it about the like distribution of tax among state?
Exactly. See, when I say tax will go to Hyderabad, see again the same point, destination. So basically, why this all place of supply is made? Because state wants their share, right? Central share will always go to central government, which is one throughout the country. But state share has to be given to one of the states. Now, which is that one state? That is what is decided by place of supply. Now, since these transactions are IGST transactions, as I mentioned at the start, I think I corrected someone that the entire tax is first collected by the central government. IGST is fully given by us to the central government, and then from there, it is distributed. It is finally given to the state. So that is how I use this terminology.
Sir, one more query. In this case, that sir, you will raise invoice on against Yogesh, and see, you will deliver the goods to me. I am at Hyderabad. See, this is one transaction over. The another transaction will Yogesh will raise invoice on me.
Obviously, my invoice is to Yogesh because for me, customer is Yogesh. Na? I even do not know you. I don't know because Yogesh just asked me to deliver the goods there. That is it. I don't know you. Correct, na?
Okay. Okay, right. In this case, Yogesh will raise against the invoice against me on this particular transaction. See, the transaction is one, but two invoice will be raised. One is by
Yes.
you, one is by another Yogesh.
Yes, and it has to be, na?
Right, sir.
Correct.
Right, sir. Clear.
I hope it is now clear to everyone else also.
Yes.
Perfect. Now, no doubts.
So then these invoice raising would apply even if it is billed to ship to in case of an intrastate?
It is for all. See, Pitambar, there is no distinction. These provisions are not made only for interstate. See, they have made provision because for every invoice you have to determine the place of supply. Every invoice you have to determine whether it is interstate, intrastate, so that accordingly you levy the tax. Now, see here, I'll give you another interesting example. Where are you from, Pitambar?
Pune.
Pune. So best. In fact, I was thinking of Pune only as example. So let us say I am the supplier at Mumbai, and let us say Swaminathan, who is in Hyderabad, is buying the goods from me, but he has actually received the order from you first. So basically, you approached Swaminathan because you knew Swaminathan as the supplier. You asked him to deliver specific goods. Swaminathan is a trader. He approached me. I am the manufacturer or the wholesaler or the distributor. He asked me that he wants these goods. Now, since I am in Mumbai and you are Pune, it is more convenient that goods move directly from Mumbai to Pune. Now, here, interestingly, this point will have a new dimension, though the answer will remain same what we discussed. If you see physically goods are moving from Mumbai to Pune. So if you see the physical movement, you will feel that okay, it is a within state supply. However, it is not. As per 1B and then as per 1A, there are two supplies. Firstly, that we agree. I am selling to Swaminathan. Swaminathan is selling to you, and both are interstate supplies. Because when I sell to Swaminathan, though I am delivering the goods, my goods are physically moving from Mumbai address to Pune address, but I am raising invoice on Swaminathan. So in this particular case, I am raising invoice on Swaminathan with IGST because my place of supply as per 1B is Swaminathan's place, which is Hyderabad. Why this provision has been made? So that Swaminathan can get the ITC of this. So whatever is the GST charged by me, Swaminathan will get the credit. Now Swaminathan will raise another invoice on you because he is your supplier and you are buying from him. And on this, Swaminathan will again be charging IGST because again this transaction is interstate transaction. The place of supply will be as per 1A, that is the place of delivery. And here he will be charging GST to you utilizing my ITC. And finally, the total GST will come and rest again in Maharashtra. So, interstate, intrastate, the rules do not change. In fact, we decide interstate, intrastate on the basis of place of supply. So, you first decide place of supply, you determine the place of supply, and on that basis, you will decide whether it is interstate or intrastate. Correct, no?
Right, sir. If suppose the Pitambar is in Hyderabad, I am
Hmm.
getting goods from you, that is
Hmm.
from Mumbai,
Maharashtra. Yes.
Maharashtra, and I am giving the goods to Pitambar. He is also in Hyderabad.
Hmm.
Then, when I am raising the invoice to Pitambar, I will raise the C plus S.
Obviously, because as per 10.1a for you, thus in the second leg of this transaction, as I said, 10.1a will be applicable. So you are from Hyderabad and also the place of supply as per 10.1 is Hyderabad. So it will be an intrastate supply. Correct?
Right, sir. Now A and B is very clear.
In fact, they are interlinked in case of bill to ship to transactions. Both are applied. For first transaction, it is 1B. And for second transaction, it is 1A.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Understood by all? Geet is saying, in second case where invoice will finally book by third person to recipient after the goods are already in his possession. Okay. No, but see, Geet, in my example, my buyer is raising invoice on the final recipient or the consumer, but he's not raising after the goods have been dispatched over there. He's raising parallelly. So I'm raising on him, he's raising on the third person, on the final consumer recipient. The goods are still in movement. So I don't think it will be as per 10.1c, it will be 10.1a only. Fine. Good. Okay. Students will take a small break here of 10 minutes and we'll come back and we'll deal with the other clauses. Fine.
Right. Fine, sir. Thank you.
8:30 we resume. N, that is place of supply for domestic transaction of goods. And we have discussed three clauses, 1A, along with that CA, and 1B. Now let us proceed to 1C, which is transaction where there is no movement. So it simply says where there is no movement involved. In such case, the place of supply shall be the location of the goods when the delivery happens. So let us say your goods are kept in a godown at Kolkata, West Bengal. I am a businessman from Maharashtra. You are a businessman from Delhi. Your goods are stored or kept in a godown in Kolkata. Now, when I place order, you say that, okay, I'll get the goods from Kolkata and deliver. I say, no, I want the goods there only. So let it be there. I will take the goods from there itself. So when such a transaction happens that there is no movement of goods, I am taking the goods on as is, where is basis. Then the place of supply is the location of goods. Another example. Let us say you are shifting to a bigger office. So presently you have your office at Indore. You are shifting to a bigger office in Indore, and I am looking out for office space in Indore only. I get to know that you are looking to shift your office. So I approach you and I propose to buy your entire setup. Now, when I'm proposing to buy your entire setup comprises of your office space, which is out of GST because it is Schedule 3. And along with that, it is having furniture, computer, and many things. Now, in this particular case, in this transaction, there will be tax on the other part, that is the portion relating to the supply of furniture, supply of computer system, which is taxable because the the office space is outside GST because it is a constructed building. Now, in this particular case, again, I am buying it on as is, where is basis. I have no intent of selling this, of movement. You are not going to move it to any other place, neither I have any intention of moving it from this place to any other place. In such a case, the place of supply will again be as per 10(1)(c), which will be the location of the goods where they are at the time I have taken the delivery, which in this example would be Indore. So this is how 10(1)(c) would be applicable. Now, we come to two specific case scenarios, that is 10(1)(d), 10(1)(e). These are two very specific case scenarios which are applicable to unique or specific cases. What are they? Now, 10(1)(d) applies where the supply of goods is such that it also requires either assembly or installation. And we have contracted, so that is, I have contracted, let us say with Geet, that I would be selling the ACs along with installation at Geet's premises. Now, Geet has given me address of office at Jaipur where Geet wants me to install those ACs. Now, in this particular case, my supply to Geet is of goods, which is ACs, but as per his requirement, I have to install it in his office at Jaipur. Now, in this particular case, 10(1)(d) would be applicable, even though there could be movement because let us say I'm dispatching or moving the goods from my godown from Mumbai, but still, since this is a specific scenario and there is a specific rule made for this, we'll be effectively applying that rule. So, since there is an installation required at his premises in Jaipur, the place of supply as per 10(1)(d) would be the place of the installation or assembly. So, as per 10(1)(d), the place of supply would come as Jaipur. Then coming to the next specific case scenario, that is clause E. Now this is interesting. Here, which specific case is covered? Where the goods are supplied on board a conveyance. Now this is where you are traveling. So let us say I have taken a flight from Mumbai to Kanyakumari. Now this flight would be crossing maybe 2 or 3 states during the entire journey. Or let us take a bigger distance. Let us say I have taken a flight from Jammu to Kanyakumari. Now, first possibility, this is a direct flight, which is a rare possibility. Second possibility, this Jammu flight is first coming to Ahmedabad. There is some gap at Ahmedabad, and then from Ahmedabad, it is coming to the southern part and Kanyakumari, and this is how the entire flight is going to happen. Now, in this particular case, while I am in journey, now it may be either in ship or in plane, by train, or by some motor vehicle. Whatever is the mode of conveyance makes no difference. Hence, they have used the word when goods are supplied on board a conveyance, which can be any one of these. What would be the place of supply? Now, here comes that practical challenge that you never know in such cases what is the actual place of consumption. Hence, you require such deeming fictions, such proxies. Now, please understand and appreciate one thing, that when you are buying something while you are in journey, like in my example, when you are buying something, when you are in flight, you have to first check whether it is supply of goods. Why? Because if something is served, let us say I order tea, so they will prepare the tea and serve it to me. That is not falling in clause E. Why? Because serving of food is supply of service as per schedule 2. So definitely it will not fit in supply of goods. So as per schedule 2, it is supply of service because the food is being prepared and served. So first, you have to identify correctly what is the nature. So only those items which are packed, like when you travel by air, they give you the packed nut case, they give you the packed juices, they give you packed wafers, chips, etc. All these are examples which will fit over here. Now, in this case, what is interesting is, please again understand and appreciate, physical place of destination or consumption is impossible to identify, because once the journey starts from Jammu, where the flight is exactly when I'm purchasing is not known. Secondly, by the time when I'm consuming it, the flight may have crossed 2 3 states. So it is highly impossible to determine the actual physical destination. Hence, we require this deeming fiction, this proxy. Now, what is interesting to note over here is why I purposefully extended my example from Jammu to Kanyakumari, because I have also added one possibility that there could be a layover, which happens in case of such long distance flights. Now, firstly, what the rule is? The rule is they are saying the place of supply shall be the location at which the goods are taken on board. So, firstly, this is important. Location is the place of supply is the location where the goods are taken on this flight. This is what you have to first understand. Now, my flight started from Jammu. I am going up to Kanyakumari in the same flight, but the flight is first coming to Ahmedabad. Over there, it is having some waiting period of half an hour, 45 minutes. During this period, some people from my flight are getting down at Ahmedabad, and also some people from Ahmedabad are boarding the flight for going to Kanyakumari. I am sitting there in the same flight. Now, interestingly, whatever food I am buying, which is in pre-packed condition, which will be supply of goods, place of supply could be two answers. One, it could be Jammu. Two, it could be Ahmedabad. In fact, there could be another possibility. We'll come to that a bit later. Now, when it would be Jammu and when it would be Ahmedabad, that is what you will understand when you read clause E again. So what it says, whatever goods I am going to buy while I'm on board a conveyance. In simple words, while I'm in this journey, the place of supply of all those goods will be the place where these goods were taken on the flight. First possibilities, some of these goods have been taken at Jammu. That is the first, the starting point of this flight. Maybe it could also be possible that some of these food items or these pre-packed items are taken on board when the flight had a halt at Ahmedabad. So whatever I'm buying, the place of supply could be Jammu, the place of supply could be Ahmedabad, depending upon where these goods were taken on board the flight. Now, as I said, interestingly, there could be a third possibility. What is this third possibility? This flight which I have taken from Jammu has originally originated from Kolkata. So from Kolkata, it had come to Jammu. And after that, we all took up the flight from Jammu way forward. Now, interestingly, there is a possibility that what I'm buying is actually loaded on this flight when it started from Kolkata. So in the morning, the flight first started from Kolkata and it reached Jammu from where I'm boarding the flight. Now, these goods which are boarded on the flight at Kolkata, I am buying it just before I'm going to land at Kanyakumari. So the goods are there in the flight since the time it left Kolkata. Then it came to Jammu. Then it came to Ahmedabad. And finally, when it is going to reach the final destination, which is Kanyakumari, before that, I order that item that, let us say, it is a salted almonds nut case. What I'm buying, the place of supply would be Kolkata because the goods were taken on board at Kolkata. So this is what is the impact of clause E. Anybody has any doubts, questions, you may ask.
Sir, in this case, majority the C plus LS will be applicable, sir, right?
Why? Why? In fact, it can be anything.
See, I'm asking the 99% cases, say example in Calcutta, the place of say supplier is at Calcutta.
Why?
So
Why supplier is at Kolkata? Firstly, Swaminathan, tell me who is supplier in this transaction, which we are discussing, clause E. Who is the supplier?
Airlines.
airlines is supplier.
Exactly. And you were thinking of the person from whom airlines has purchased. That is why you are saying C plus S, Swaminathan.
Yes, sir.
So it is not that transaction. You're not talking about that transaction. That may be covered in 1A, it may be covered in 1C, it may be covered in 1CA, not 1CA because flight airlines are registered. So the first leg, when the actual vendor is selling to airlines, it is covered already in 1A or 1C. We are not talking about that. We are talking about the second leg when the airlines is selling to the passenger. This is where this clause is triggering in. See, as a passenger, while I am in journey, I am not buying from the original vendor. I don't know who the vendor is. Correct? Correct,
Right,
na?
sir. Right, sir.
So that is why now this airlines may be having multiple place of business because airlines have that. But when they are making this billing of whatever they are selling on the flight, generally the billing is centralized. So let us say this airlines which I am having, its corporate office is in Delhi. So we have added one more place. So the location of supplier will be Delhi because all the billings which they are doing, the location is Delhi of supplier, right? And now the place of supply can be any of these places depending upon where the goods are taken on board. So in fact, it is more chances it will be IGST, right?
Right, sir. It's in this case the location of supplier and the location of the place of supply will be play the major role, sir, for determining the tax.
That is always not in this case. Entire GST law, what is
Yes,
the
sir.
nature of tax depends upon nature of supply. Nature of supply, whether interstate, intrastate, depends upon location of supplier and place of supply. So everywhere these two things only decides which tax will be levied.
So in our discussion, if that recipient is purchasing good almonds at the Kanyakumari, which means place of supply will be treated as the Calcutta.
If this almonds was onboarded the flight at Calcutta, If it is
Kolkata.
onboarded at Jammu, Jammu is place of supply. If it is onboarded at Ahmedabad, Ahmedabad is place of supply.
Then how that place of supplier will be?
How the place of supply?
Place of supplier.
So that's what I already said, na beta. Place of supplier is your airline's corporate office. See, when they are raising invoice on me, right? Who is raising the invoice? Airlines. We
Okay,
concluded.
sir.
So airlines will have its registered office, na?
Okay.
The airlines
Sir,
is flying across India, length and breadth, but they have their corporate office. Somebody has at Mumbai, somebody has at Delhi, somebody has at Bangalore. So wherever it is, that is the location of supplier. It will not
right, sir.
change.
Right, sir. In this case, that the airline is purchased goods at Kolkata, they
Maybe.
sold
Correct.
at Kanyakumari, say example to the passenger. Then
Hmm.
how the tax will be treated? What is the tax? The
So
location of
where is the
supplier.
confusion? Where is the confusion? First
Sir,
transaction when airlines is purchasing from vendor or when airlines is selling to passenger.
I am very clear on the place of supply on this. The Calcutta will be the place of supply.
For which
What is
transaction? For which transaction?
the airline is purchased goods at Calcutta.
No, again, why Kolkata will be place of supply?
No, they purchased the goods at the Calcutta, right?
See, but again, whether it is 10(1)(a), whether it is 10(1)(c), which transaction is applicable, which situation is applicable? It may be a bill to ship to type of a case where airlines is giving its address of corporate office because see, again, when airlines is buying, physically, the goods are delivered by the vendor to the airline's flight number A1489, which is at present at Kolkata airport, right? So when the airlines place the order, the vendor who is at Kolkata, the shopkeeper came and delivered the goods at the airport where the flight is, correct?
Right, sir.
So the goods are delivered at the Kolkata airport. But it is which transaction? It may be 1B, bill to ship to transaction, because he is billing to the airlines, keeping or putting the address of the airlines, the registered address of the airlines, which is, let us say, Delhi. So why it will be place of supply is Kolkata? Why
Okay, sir.
place of supply will be Kolkata? Tell me, it will be 1B, na? Bill to ship to transaction.
Okay, right, sir. I confused because of that. The passenger at Kanyakumari is buying that. Okay, that is irrelevant. So in this case,
That is the next leg. That is why I'm saying first see which leg you are talking about. Every leg will have different clauses applicable.
yeah, the first leg is very clear, sir. What about the second leg?
So first leg, firstly be clear. The place of supply will always be the registered address of the airlines. Agreed, na?
Yes, sir.
Now registered address may be Delhi. So supplier of Kolkata delivering goods at Kolkata airport, which has to be onboarded the flight, he will still raise IGST invoice with place of supply as Delhi because he's putting the address and the GST number of the supplier, of the airlines, which is given as Delhi address.
Build to ship model.
Sort of, correct.
Okay, right. In that case, that is clear. On that goods.
Now this airline has taken these goods at Kolkata airport. From there, it has gone to Jammu, where some nut cases were sold to some passengers. Then Jammu, I boarded the flight. Maybe I purchased one nut case between Jammu to Ahmedabad. Again, I felt hungry. I bought another nut case when the flight was about to land. So I have bought the nut case twice. Still, for both the transactions, the airline will be considering the place of supply as the place where the goods are onboarded. That is what is Kolkata. Are you getting this? So they will be charging me IGST because supplier, that is airlines, is Delhi. Place of supply as per 1E is always the place where these goods were onboarded, which is Kolkata. Now, what is the confusion?
So I have a question.
Please.
That let's say some nutcases have been boarded on the Kolkata airport, and some nutcases have been boarded on the Kolkata airport, and the same kind of nutcases have been boarded on Jammu
There is
Kashmir
that
airport.
very much possible.
So, will it be not very difficult to determine which nutcases were
See,
boarded?
Practically it is. So what they do is practically they follow FIFO. Let us say they onboarded 100 nutcase boxes at Kolkata and then another 40 nutcase boxes at Jammu airport. Now, when they are selling, they may not be keeping because all nutcase boxes are same, right? So what they will do, they will start preparing bill. So once their bill crosses 100, they will change the place of supply to Jammu. Up till 100, they will show it as Kolkata. So they will follow FIFO.
Okay, sir.
Correct, na?
Yes.
Generally, but this problem generally does not happen. So I'll tell you why. Because generally all these flights, either they have centralized buying, that is, their corporate office is buying centrally and it is uploaded or given to the flights at one particular place only. Second, even if it has to be given at Kolkata, they have a calculation as per their past experiences that how much would be consumed till maybe the whole day, or let us say the flight is traveling at least to the destination, which is Kanyakumari, from where the second lot will be uploaded. So generally, they may not upload it at every airport. So that is another practical thing. But still, even if you are taking it for any academic situation, also that every airport they are uploading certain quantities, then they follow FIFO to determine which quantity is consumed first. Correct? So first they will consider all quantities of Kolkata loaded is consumed. So till then they will take place of supply as Kolkata. Once that is consumed, the quantity is zero. Then they will start taking the Jammu airport as the place of supply up till the next 40 quantities consumed, and so on. Understood?
Okay, sir. In this case, majority IGST will applicable. Say example, if
Yes.
the flight is, say example, in within the same state is flight is going.
Makes no difference because again, place of supply is a deeming fiction. It has to be decided purely as per the provisions we are reading. So where actually the flight is going is irrelevant to us. For us, the place of supply remains the place where the goods are onboarded.
Right, sir. No, that is very clear, sir. I am talking about the subsequent sale by the airline to the passenger.
I'm talking about that sale only, beta. When I'm saying place of supply is the place where the goods are onboarded, it means I'm talking about the subsequent sale only.
Okay.
In fact, for first sale, it is not that. In fact, the first sale, it is always Delhi, which is the corporate office address of airlines. Correct, na?
Right, sir.
So in fact, for first leg, it is always Delhi. And for second leg, it will be the place where the goods are onboarded. See, I understand this. If you want to understand it, because I understand what is not absorbing is you are not able to absorb because you are trying to look at the transaction physically. And I'll again say, don't look at the transaction physically. In fact, physicality is a challenge. That is why they have made a deeming fiction. That is why they have not used the word consumption or destination in the act. So to understand this transaction, understand it like this, that once these goods are uploaded in the flight, consumption has happened, full stop. Because after that, what happens inside flight and where it is happening, it is impossible to identify the exact place where in flight the goods will be consumed. So best what the law has assumed, that let the place where the goods are onboarded the flight be the final consumption,
Okay.
irrespective of where it will be actually consumed. Because that is, see, now that next part is difficult to see where actually it will be sold by the flight to the passenger. So let the place of, because that is the last point where you can see the goods. That is when they are being uploaded or onboarded the flight. Let that be the place. Simple, full stop.
Sir, just a head question, but just a curiosity. So, time of supply will be when onboarded or when sold to the passenger in the flight?
Don't mix time of supply. Time of supply is another different set of provisions. We are talking about place of supply. Correct, na?
Okay, okay, sir.
Time of supply is something different. See, what is time of supply? It is simply to determine in which month you have to go and pay this tax. So first, we
Yes.
determine there is a supply. Means there is a transaction which is taxable. It is not exempt, what we discuss in first two chapters. Second, we decided in the second chapter who will pay. So I am only going to pay supplier because it is forward charge. Now I have to determine the rate, which is also fixed because the goods are the nutcase box. We know the rate is 12%. Third, we have to determine when the tax will be paid. That will go and check time of supply provisions. Whatever it says, that you have to pay in the first month or in the second month or the third month, you will pay tax in that month. But which tax has to be paid? That is decided when you decide the place of supply. So when tax has to be paid, that is a different question. Time of supply is not the point here. Understood? See, anyways,
Yes.
understand one thing. In indirect taxes or even any taxes, we do not go and pay tax immediately when the transaction happens. So today, if you are selling something, today you will never go and pay tax. You will go and pay tax on the respective due dates, which will be monthly or quarterly as per the mechanism of returns you are adopting. So you will pay tax at a different date, which is one single date for entire months or entire quarters transaction. That is what is time of supply. But during that month, all the transactions that happened, for each transaction, you have to separate determine place of supply, because each transaction may have different place of supply. Each transaction may be different. Some may be IGST, some may be C plus S. So accordingly, for each transaction, you apply the place of supply. Clear? Fine. Then we have the subsection 2, which says where the place of supply of goods cannot be determined as per any of the above clauses, it shall be determined in manner as may be prescribed, means there should be rules. Till date, no such rules are prescribed. So for the time being, all scenarios are still being addressed in all the above clauses. So they do not require any rule as such for determining place of supply. But they have made this generic point so that in case tomorrow the government feels like determining or fixing a specific rule for a specific transaction, they may use 10(2). Then we come to section 11, which is very small, which is very simple and straightforward. What does section 11 says? Place of supply for goods imported or exported shall be. First, in case of imported goods, it shall be the location of importer. Now, interesting. Let us say I am a person from Assam, Guwahati, Assam. I have ordered certain goods which are coming from UK. Now from UK, the port at which these goods are coming is the Kolkata port. So goods would be landing at the Kolkata port, and from there, maybe by road, they would be coming to Guwahati. This is, let us say, whole transportation mechanism. Now, interestingly, when you see the custom provisions, you will find that there is something called as location of import. Now, in this transaction, the location of import is Kolkata port, which is a different state. Importantly, the question is, which is the place of supply? Is it the location of import or is it the location of importer? If you say it is location of import, it has to be Kolkata. But if you say location of importer, it will be Assam. So the law is clear. They want you to get the ITC because on this import, there will be IGST, which you will be paying along with the customs duty. So this you should get as credit, and you will get credit only when it is of your state. So hence, even though the goods are unloaded, they are cleared at the Kolkata port, the IGST which would be levied will be showing place of supply as Assam. So the tax is also going to Assam since the goods are also finally going. Right?
Right, sir. If the location of that in this case in the port means, then clearance from the port to the location of the importer will be the question.
Means what?
Means there's imported into India shall be the location of the importer. Here the place of supply is clearly mentioned as imported place location.
Correct, correct.
Say suppose if the location is the port of the India, then from clearing from port of India to imported place is another question. The taxability will arise.
But what taxability? Which taxability you are talking about?
I am talking about GST.
No, so what GST? See, I imported the goods. My goods landed at Kolkata port. From there, now they are coming to Assam, which is my actual location where my factory is. So the question is where there is GST in the second part. Why means this is a concern.
It's IGST only, sir. Here, there is no doubt at all. But I am talking about in another way around. If the location we are assuming as a location of the port, in that case, when we are importing the goods, the person is at Mumbai. The received the goods at Goa port.
Hmm.
Then from clearing the Goa port to that Mumbai, the distance no.
Correct.
If suppose the location of the place of supply is the port of the Goa,
Hmm.
then the clearance from port of Goa to that Mumbai will be the another taxability will be there.
ठीक
That
है.
is a reason. That is a reason the lawmaker is. I am assuming that the location of the place of supply is location of the importer.
Fine. ठीक है. Now, similarly for export, they are saying the place of supply will be the location outside India. Now, interestingly, I have a very interesting input or point for you all to discuss. Now, if the location of my supply, that is the place of supply, is outside India as per your own section 11B, can the lawmaker tax this? Can you levy tax on this?
Yeah, as of now, there is exempted, sir.
No, no, sir. Now, why I'm asking this, I'll tell you. As rightly pointed out by Geet, we call it as zero rated supply, right? But it means we are not exempting it. We are considering it as a taxable supply, but with a special privilege or with a special recognition called as zero rated. Now, why I'm raising this question? In order to get the benefit of zero rated supply, section 16 of same IGST Act says one, either you export it with payment of IGST. So you first pay IGST, you deposit it and you get it back as a refund. So automatically it will become zero. Second, you don't export it by levying GST, but for that they have given you a procedure of LUT and bond. So you have to first take LUT, and under LUT you have to export it following all the procedure. Now let us say I forgot to take LUT, and as we all believe that export is zero rated, or as you said it is exempt. Technically it is not exempt, but let us say generically we say it is exempt. So in this case I will say okay fine, so I need not levy any GST. I have not levied, I have exported, but for that section 16 required me to raise or to get a LUT. But I was not doing all that procedure because I was under that belief that since it is export, there should be no tax. So I did not do that. Now the question is, can this now ask me to pay tax? Because I have
Yes.
not raised the, and if they can ask me to pay tax, then the question is it not indirectly that government is taxing a foreign transaction?
But then we will be receiving input credit also for that.
No, sir. It is about output tax. So I'm charging tax on my exports. So it is the foreigner who is going to be the recipient. How he will get the ITC or where he will use the ITC. Understood, na?
Yes.
There is no question of ITC. In fact, that is where the bigger question is. If I impose tax on such an export where the goods services are going outside India, will it be constitutionally correct? Because the tax will now be paid by a foreigner. Because when I'm levying tax on this, obviously I'm adding it in my invoice and collecting from the foreigner. Even if I'm not collecting from foreigner, let us say I'm paying from my pocket, but will it be correct? Can or should I pay tax on a foreign route of India supply?
So, but this in this case, IGST is paid by the supplier on RCM basis.
Student, just give me a minute, please. Yes, sorry. So we were discussing this. Now, this is a very critical point. As of now, if you look at the law, somehow it is taxing it. Because if you do not comply with the procedure, you end up paying the tax, or at least the department is demanding the tax. I have a strong belief that this should not be so, because if the law is a taxation law which is based on place of supply, which is the destination or consumption, then I believe if the law itself by virtue of section 11 makes the place of supply as outside India, so I believe that there should be no tax in whatever manner. Okay, you may provide this benefit of zero rated supply, but if somebody fails to comply this, I believe there should be no tax. This is my interpretation. Let's see how in future the honorable courts interpret it whenever the matter escalates to higher forums. Okay. Now we move on to the second part of this, that is place of supply of service. Now here, if you remember, I had mentioned that here there are two parts. One is again section 12 for domestic transactions, section 13 for international transactions. But importantly, here the word import or export of service is not used as it was used in case of goods. Why? Because international transaction is one thing and import and export of service is another thing. Now, what is the difference? Let us understand. So firstly, a transaction where one of the parties is in India and the other party is outside India will be an international transaction. So let us say supplier is in India, recipient outside, it is international. But will it be export? Not necessarily. Why? Let us go to the definition. Similarly, if supplier of service is outside, the recipient is inside, it is international transaction of service. But will it be import? Not necessarily. Why? So for this, let us first go back to the definition of what is import and export of service, because that is what will first differentiate between any transaction being import export of service and any transaction being international. So international is what? One party inside, one party outside. Sufficient, it is international, right? Swaminathan, can you please read for me the definition of export of service?
Yes, sir. One second.
Yeah, no problem.
You mean export of service, sir, right?
Yes.
Okay. Means export of service means the supply of any service when the supplier of service is located in India. B. The recipient of service is located outside India.
So
C.
first two conditions make it clear that this is international. But now, besides these two, until and unless other conditions are satisfied, even though the transaction is international, it will not be export. This is where I'm trying to differentiate between an international transaction and an export of service transaction. Yes, go ahead, please.
C. The place of supply of service is outside India. D. The payment of such service has been received by the supplier of service in convertible foreign exchange or in Indian rupee whenever permitted by the
RBI.
yeah. 1 minute, sir. My net disconnected on that laptop.
You can read from my screen. Na?
Yes, sir. I can read it out. Yes, the payment of such service has been received by the supplier or service in convertible foreign exchange or in Indian rupees uh, wherever permitted by the Reserve Bank of India. And point number E, the supplier of service and recipient of service are not merely establishment of a distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 of section 8.
Okay, now, so this is, students, now very important. What is important is we are having very specific conditions only after satisfaction of all the conditions, your transactions will be export. So first two are one party inside, one party outside. So this makes your transaction international, but it is still not making it export. For export, you determine place of supply. Now, interestingly, since one of the parties is inside, that is supplier, the other party, which is a recipient, is outside, it is international transaction. You go to section 13 to determine place of supply. Now, when you are determining place of supply, it is a possibility that the place of supply may still be India. That is the location of supplier. When we'll read these transactions, you'll find that in some transactions, the supplier's location is the place of supply. Now, in such cases, even though I am providing the service outside India, it will not be considered as an export and you will not get the benefit of export. So this is an interesting scenario coming out of the definition of export. So export of service requires all these conditions to be satisfied. Now, interestingly, import of service has only three conditions: supplier outside, recipient inside, and again place of supply. So since because of first two conditions, you will check section 13 for place of supply. If the place of supply is falling in India as per section 13, then only it will be considered as an import of service. Otherwise, it will not be considered as import of service. So be clear, students, simply it being an international transaction will not necessarily mean it is also import or export. This is the point I am trying to make out. Is this clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Now, what is the distinction between section 12 and 13 of place of supply? 12 says both location of supplier and location of recipient is in India, then check 12 for place of supply. And 13 says where one of the person's location is outside India, check section 13 for place of supply. Now, interestingly, in order to determine whether I have to check section 12 or I have to check section 13 for place of supply, I need to first find out where is the location of supplier and location of recipient. So now the next important definition that we will see is that of location of supplier and recipient. Now you check any definition, whether location of recipient or you check the definition of location of supplier, both are designed in the same fashion on the same lines. So any one definition, if you understand, you will understand the remaining definitions also. But what is very important, which I want to highlight over here, is that while determining whether you need to check 12 section for place of supply provisions or 13 section for place of supply provisions, you will not see where the service is actually performed, because the service may be performed outside India. But if both the supplier and recipient locations are India, you will still check the domestic transaction provision, that is section 12 of place of supply. So what is again important, which I'm trying to highlight or trying to stress on, is that which section to check in determining place of supply will depend upon location of both the parties and not the location where the service is performed. Service may be performed outside, still you will check section 12 if both the parties, that is the supplier and recipient's location, is India. Now, what is the location of supplier? What is the location of recipient? Interestingly, this definition is made very specifically only for services. So the lawmaker has not even thought of defining location of supplier of goods. Again, interesting. So they only thought it convenient or appropriate to define location for services, not for goods. Why? Maybe because the lawmakers felt that determining location of supplier for goods is not required, because goods you can physically see. Hence, it is easy to know what is the location of supplier, location of recipient when it comes to transaction of goods. But when it comes to transaction of service, since service is invisible, this is going to be required. And that is why they have framed definition here. Now, before we read the definition, I would like to first raise few questions because these are the questions which will be relevant in exams for your case study questions. Plus, when you enter the practice or when you handle the real life GST issues, you will find that the same questions being raised there as well. So what are these questions? So I'll give you some case scenarios. Just keep that at the back of the mind. Maybe you can give me the answer for case scenarios and then we will check what the loss is, right? So first case scenario, I'm a chartered accountant having my office in Mumbai, but I travel to different parts of India, Kolkata, Agra, your Chennai, then your Delhi for delivering sessions. And let us assume for the time being, I'm paid for those sessions. Now, in this particular first case scenario, I am registered in Mumbai, Maharashtra, but I am going and physically delivering lectures in these different states. So, whether location of supplier of this particular service will be these states. Another example, same. I am a chartered accountant registered in Mumbai, Maharashtra. I get a bank audit where the location of the branch is Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. I get some litigation assignment where I have to go and stand in Goa High Court to handle that particular matter. I get some inventory audit assignment where I have to physically travel to, let us say, Arunachal Pradesh because the location is there where I have to go and do the physical inventory audit. Now, in these examples also, all these are of case scenario one, where I am a professional registered in Mumbai, Maharashtra, but for the purpose of performing my service, I go physically to these locations and over there I perform my service. First scenario. You may put in the chat box what you feel will be the location of supplier, simply whether it will be Mumbai or you can write each of these places. Second case scenario, I am a works contractor. I have my office in Rajasthan, let us say Udaipur. I get a road contract in Gujarat where I have to construct a 12-kilometer road. This is given to me by Gujarat state government. Similarly, I get another contract in Madhya Pradesh, let us say in Indore, where I have to construct the underground pipeline. Again, for this second case scenario, what will be the location of supply, right? Just a third case scenario. I am a person, let us say a person retired, a pensioner staying in Bangalore. I have three properties, one in Kerala, one in Goa, one in Kashmir. All these three properties I had purchased and I had kept it to give it on rent. So whoever visits there, they contact me if they want. Let us say these are all my guest houses type of properties, or let us say a simple bungalow type of properties, which are generally kept closed. But whenever anybody visits and they want it, I give it to them on rent. So I am in Bangalore. I have my properties in three different other states, Kerala, Goa, Kashmir. Third case scenario. Again, in this, what is the location of supplier? So case 1, professional. Case 2, works contractor. Case 3, renting of properties. Pitambar, this answer is for which case? 1, 2, 3. Write number 1 and then the answer. Number 2 and then the answer. I did not get this part, Pitambar. First, you are writing 1 in all the answers. So how I'll understand? Case 1, professional. Case 2, works contractor. Case 3. Nee, again, better you are writing 1. For 1, how can you have 3 different answers? For 1, you have given me 3 answers. Pitambar, you are writing 1 and the answer.
I don't know, sir. Number 1 is Mumbai. Second, the nearest office. Third is the respective state. I don't know
Nee,
what it is.
second, works contractor. See, there is no office. I get to construct
The
road in Madhya
nearest.
Pradesh. So I go and construct the work in do the work in Madhya Pradesh. Then I get in Gujarat and I am from Rajasthan.
Rajasthan.
So it
Sir,
means again you are same like 1. Like in 1 you said Mumbai, in the 2 also you
Yes.
said it is your own office.
sir, for case number 1 will be that location of the supplier
Mumbai.
and Mumbai. Case 2 will be the
Irrespective of where he is going to perform his audit or where he is going for handling the litigation or the sessions.
yes, sir.
Okay.
And case number 2 will be the
Works contract.
works contract place, Gujarat or MP, as the case may be.
That is the location of supplier.
The location of yes, sir. And
No,
third
be
case,
clear. You are talking about location of supplier or you are talking about place of supply. My
location of
question is
supply.
for location of supplier. Place of supply will study.
Say location of supplier. On the second case, he is not the registered supplier.
No, I am
The one,
registered in my state. I am registered in Rajasthan, Udaipur. So I am a registered works contractor from Rajasthan, Udaipur. But I got one contract of constructing road in Gujarat. I got another contract of laying pipeline in Madhya Pradesh. So I go there and perform these works contract.
so in Rajasthan will be the location of the supplier, sir. On that case.
So same like 1. So in 1
Okay,
also you said it is my place. In 2 also you are saying my place.
yes, sir. And the third case will be that the retired person is in Bangalore. For that, he is rendering his property in different state. In those case, the respective state will be the location of the supplier.
Okay. Will your answer change in 1 and 2 if I had been an unregistered person? Let us say I have newly started my practice, so I have not yet crossed 20 lakhs and hence I have not taken registration in first case. Similarly, I am a works contractor, not taken registration because my turnover is below the threshold.
Yes, sir. Definitely, my answer will be changed for case 1 and 2 as per the case number 3. See, my answer to this question, when there is a place of business or warehouse or location or additional place of is available, that is a place of supplier, location of supplier. When there is a fixed establishment is there, then such a place is a location of supplier. If there is no such a case, then that place of location of supplier will be the actually where he is providing supplies.
Okay.
I mean the recipient place will be the location of the supplier.
Oh, and then what is this fixed establishment? The word you use, what it means? What is this fixed establishment?
Fixed establishment, he is running some branches of his or some, I could not remember the exact meaning of it, but there is a concept called fixed establishment.
Okay, fine. Good. Now the answer for all 3 is, and in both scenarios, whether I am registered or I am unregistered, the answer is same. It is my address, which in first case is Mumbai, second case is Rajasthan, and third case is Bangalore. My address is the location of supplier in all the three cases in both the two scenarios. How? Let us read and understand from the provision itself. Right? So let us read. Can you please read for me?
Yes, sir. Which one, sir?
This location of supply definition.
Okay, 1 second. Location of supplier of service.
Yes.
Yeah, point number A, where a supply is made from the place of business for which registration has been obtained, the location of such place of business.
Hmm.
Point number B, where a supply is made from a place other than place of business for which registration has been obtained, that is to say, a fixed establishment elsewhere, the location of such fixed establishment. C, where a supply is made from more than one establishment, where the place of supply or fixed establishment, the location of the establishment more directly concerned with the provision of the supply. And D, in absence of such place, the location of the usual place of residence of the supplier. I confused with the point number D when I am answering your question.
Exactly. That is why I made you read.
I did not go through that.
Okay. Chalo, anybody else? Anybody else wants to add something? Has any particular query after reading this definition again? Because see, this is not that only you are having a doubt or a question. It is everyone who is still struggling with determining the answers to the three specific case scenarios I asked. And that is why I particularly asked these three case scenarios.
Sir, in the third scenario, in which
Sorry, you are not audible.
hello, am I audible, sir?
You are audible, but there is some voice at the background, so you're not clear. Just make it loud slightly.
Okay, sir. 1 second. Sir, as per the third scenario, in which the supplier was located in Bangalore, and according to the scenario, I guess it was not his place of business. He was operating from his home itself. So,
Correct.
but he was renting out the properties in
Different
another
states.
states.
Correct.
So, according to the point D, when he is operating from its home itself, then the place of business will be its home.
Not place of business. Don't mix. It is the location of
Sorry,
supplier,
location
which
of
is
the
home.
supplier.
Yes, there is a difference
Okay,
between anything being place of business and anything being your location of supplier.
and so then in that case, what will be the place of supply?
That we'll see. See, place of supply is anyways our topic, na? That we
Okay,
will see. Right. Right now,
sure.
my question, my challenge is not a place of supply. My first challenge or issue is with the location of supplier because there is lot of confusion, lot of doubt, lot of dispute on that. And as I gave you three simple case scenarios, which are very common, you yourself are having the feel of the confusion what people are having in this, right?
Yes, yes.
So now let us read this definition again. Please mute yourself because I have a lot of background noise.
Okay, sir.
Huh. Yes, thank you. Now, see this definition. Now, in this definition, you will find that first three clauses A, B, C are having reference to place of business, and D is not having reference to place of business. So firstly, please don't mix between place of business and location of supplier. Location of supplier may not be your place of business. Like in case of D, location of supplier is not place of business. So firstly, you have to be clear that they have not used the term as location of business of goods or location of business of supplier of goods. It is simply location of supplier. So one thing we have to understand and appreciate that location of supplier and the place of business of the same supplier can be two different things. Now, please understand what is the location of supplier. So in this, we have clause A and clause C, where you have taken a registration for your place of business. And we have clause B, where you have not taken registration for place of business, but you have a place of business, right? So to explain you this, again, I'll take a very simple real life practical example. So you complete your CA in this attempt, right? Now, once you complete your CA, you set up your office by taking a place on rent, which is some distance from your house, and you start your practice there. Now, that place, that office is your place of business. You agree? Yes, because it is the place from where you are performing or carrying out your services. So it is place of business. We saw the definition at the start. Now, this place of business is not yet registered. Why it is not yet registered? Because you have newly started your practice. You are yet to cross the 20 lakh threshold, which is the compulsion threshold for registration. And right now, you are also not interested in taking registration compulsory voluntarily. So you have not taken registration, but you are operating from that office location. That office location is the location of supplier as per clause B. So what is B saying? Where a supply is made from a place other than place of business for which registration has been obtained. So it is a place of business. Yes, it is your office. Have you obtained registration? Answer is no. So you are carrying on your business from office, but it is not yet registered. Now, this office, which is not yet registered, is called as the fixed establishment. See what it is saying, that is to say. So indirectly, they are clarifying, though there is a definition of fixed establishment, but without being, I'll say, misguided by that definition, let us first understand what the section itself says. Supply is made from a place other than place of business for which registration has been taken. So you have not yet taken registration for this place of business. So it is your new office. You are a new chartered accountant. And this new office is, that is to say, a fixed establishment elsewhere. So this office is called as the fixed establishment, and the location of this office, that is fixed establishment, is the location of supplier. In short, even for an unregistered supplier, the office, the place of business will be the location of supplier. That is why I said my answer does not changes whether I am registered or unregistered. The location of supplier always remains my office. I hope this is clear. Let me take you to the definition of fixed establishment. I hope it is here. Yes. Can you please read for me the definition, Beda?
So fixed establishment, sir. Yes. Okay. Fixed establishment means a place other than the place of business, which is characterized by the sufficient degree of performance and suitable structure in terms of human and technical resources to supply services or to receive and use services of its own needs.
Now, I believe again there should be some clarity. It is slightly creating a confusion because it says it means a place other than place of business. So you feel it is not your office. But if you read it, the clause B, you will find that they are talking about your office only, for which you have not yet taken registration. So I think here also they should add the same words which they have added in clause B, place of business which has registration. So it should read like this: fixed establishment means a place other than place of business for which registration has been taken. So it will be clear this and that point is aligning. But even if we ignore that, what it's saying, it means a place other than the place which is characterized by sufficient degree of permanence, suitable structure in terms of human and technical resources to either supply the service or to receive the service. Now, this part to receive the service is for the recipient definition, because as I said, you have the same copy paste definition for recipient. Even in recipient, clause B is the fixed establishment, but we keep that point aside. For the time being, we are looking at from the supplier's point of view. So if you read this definition, it means your office only, because your office is characterized by a sufficient degree of permanence. What is sufficient degree of permanence? It is not saying permanent means permanent for life. Nobody has that. Neither your house, neither your office. Anybody can say this is permanent for life. We may change, but at least I have in mind that I will continue my business from here for some foreseeable future. That is why they have used the word sufficient degree of permanence. So, what is permanence? That place is not a place like, for example, if you see this model of lawyers, many times the young lawyers, what they do is in every court, they have one common sitting place. You can call it as their library or a meeting room, where they go and sit and they meet their clients until unless they are established enough to have their own office. Now, when this happens, or like in case of many other professionals also, what they do is, let us say I am established having my proper office. I will have an extra cabin where people are in rotation coming and sitting there to have their meetings. Now, you are one such new professional. What you have done, when you are in my area, Mumbai, you will come and sit in my office for your meetings. When you go to Hyderabad, you'll go there and sit. So it means you are not having any permanent place. So that is where they are trying to distinguish. So sufficient degree of permanence means at least you have a thought of working, operating from this place for some foreseeable future. So when you take up an office, you have this first characteristic. Second, what it requires further, it says and, it means the second is also required. Suitable structure in terms of human and technical resources which is required to supply the service. So if I'm running an office, I will require some human structure. Structure means I'll require staff, which is the human structure in terms of human. And I will require my computers, laptops. I will require some type of gadgets. I'll require the common LAN and all those, which is in terms of the technical resources. And why I need this? To make the outward supply. So this place, which is firstly having suitable permanence, and second, which is also having the structure in terms of your staff, in terms of all these gadgets that you require, this is fixed establishment. Now just look at it, read it with your office in mind. You will see that your office is very well fitting in this definition. So what is clause B saying? Your office is that fixed establishment, and it is that office for which you are yet to take a registration. That is also the location of supplier. So for unregistered suppliers, their office is their location of supplier. I hope this is clear. Now you come to clause A. Let us say you shifted from clause C to clause A. So now your office is what? Where a supply is made from a place of business for which registration is obtained, the location of such place. So now same office will be location of supplier as per clause A. Then comes the most interesting part, clause C, where supply is made from more than one establishment, whether the place of business or fixed establishment. So let us say you have registered your first office, which is in Udaipur, Rajasthan. Now, as your business is expanding, you are opening more offices in different places. So now you have an office in Rajasthan, you have an office in Delhi, you have an office in Hyderabad, you have an office in Kolkata, and one office in Mumbai. So you have total 5 locations. Now, in this particular case, you fall in clause C. 1, these may be registered. 2, these may be not registered. So you have decided to start office at 5 locations, still turnover not crossing 20 lakhs, so not taken registration. Both options are covered here. That is where supply is made from more than one establishment. In such case, what is the location? It will be the location of establishment most directly connected with this supplier. So whenever your supply is being made from different locations, or I will use the word you have different location. So now let us say you have 5 offices. Now you get a bank audit, a statutory audit, an inventory audit, or any type of professional assignment. The question is, for this professional assignment, which office out of these 5 will be considered as location of supplier? If you read this and if you interpret it in the sense what they want, they say it is that office which you decide to be the location of supply. So like when I'm getting a bank audit, I have to do empanelment. Now, when I'm empaneling myself on the respective website of that bank or wherever I have to empanel on some common website, you will find that you have to put an address. Now, it is my choice. I put Mumbai address, Delhi address, Hyderabad address, Rajasthan address. That will now be the establishment directly connected with this provision of supply, and that will be considered as location of supply for that service. Now for some other service where I have to again put my address, I have given my Rajasthan address. So for that service, Rajasthan office will become the location of supply. So in short, when I have multiple locations, indirectly the law has given me the cushion to determine that office which I want, and whatever office address I put, that will become the location of supplier. And then you come to clause D, where let us say you are newly qualified chartered accountant. Just now you got your result and you have not yet decided to have a separate office place. Why? Because unnecessarily it will increase cost. Also, you don't know which location is most suitable. So what you do for initial first 6 months, 9 months, year, you operate from your house. You have no place of business. You have no separate office. So, and in fact, nowadays, after this pandemic and COVID, work from home has become the new normal. Now, because of this, many people who are having offices, but they were in pure consulting, they discontinued their offices because consulting can be done from home. I can do my meeting through Zoom. I can go and meet people in their respective offices, and that suffices. So for such people, where in absence of such places, what are such places? ABC, and ABC is all having place of business. So in short, where there is no place of business, then also there is a location. The location is your usual place of residence. Again, they are not saying permanent. Now, what is this meaning of usual place? This again has an expanded meaning. So let us say you are from a small place in Rajasthan and you have moved to Delhi for the purpose of your future business or employment. And in Delhi, you are staying in some hostel, or in Delhi, you are staying in some PGs. If that you are staying there on a reasonable length of time, that will also be considered as your usual place of residence. It is not necessary that your house or from where you belong to will only be covered in D. It can be even the present rented place. It can be even present PG. It can be even present hostel. That can fall in clause D. So this much vast is the definition of location of supply. And same you will find replica definition is location of recipient. Replica. So once you understand one, the other one is same. So as a recipient also, your office, registered, unregistered, where multiple office, then the address which you give, that will be the location of recipient. And if you don't have an office, your residence is your location of recipient. Yes, students, tell me if now there is any question. Link it with my 3 case studies and tell me if you still have a question.
Now your answer to your 3 questions will be on the third case that it will be the residence of that retired person.
Correct. No, but now I have a cross question which can create a confusion, especially now when you are saying about the third scenario, right? Now, what is this confusion? Yes, sorry, somebody saying something? Somebody saying something?
Yes, sir, I was about to ask that
Hmm.
in the third case where there are properties located, so that is a kind of permanence.
Or fixed establishment, right?
Yeah, we can say that there some kind of एक छोटा सा जब place I have just locked for myself when I go there and I करते ही हैं landlords,
है
तो
ही
I
ना।
can.
इससे तो मैंने आपको रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल जो दिया है वो यही है कि ड्यूरिंग योर जॉब यू इन्वेस्टेड इन 2-3 places which were all good these bungalows और rooftop flats जो आपने अपने लिए रखा है या आपने इसी सोच से लिया है कि भाई मैं प्रीमियम लोकेशन पे लेता हूँ ताकि मैं उसको रेंट पे चला सकूं एंड यू आर एक्चुअली गिविंग इट ऑन रेंट. So you have these 3 locations. So you are staying in Bangalore and you have 3 locations in 3 best parts where people regularly visit and you have given it on rent. So now the question is, in this case, okay, your location is D because you do not have any business places, okay. But then the confusion is, will these places, my flats where I am, which I am giving on rent, will it not fall in D? Correct, na?
Yes, sir, that's the
Yes, sir.
question.
Yeah, that will not fall under the B, sir. There is no that office fixed establishment the status is not fulfilled.
Okay. Okay. But this is what the confusion is exactly. Because, see, why Preetham is asking this question, because this is again a practical issue. Confusion is that if I am providing you my space, whatever it is, it may be residential, commercial, whatever, on rent, will that space not be called as a fixed establishment? Right now, Preetham?
Yes, sir, and that too. In addition, normally landlords what they do, suppose it's a 3 BHK 4 BHK, तो वो outside का अपने लिए lock करके बाकी rent दे देते हैं, so that when they come they can stay in there. Well, normally it does happen. It
Multiple
can.
possibilities, right? So the question is, where you have any such what you say place which you are giving on rent, will such place not be called as fixed establishment? And once it is fixed establishment, it will automatically, then that place itself will become your location of supplier and not your Bangalore, right? The answer is no. Reason, this is where the definition of fixed establishment becomes relevant. So I'll take you back to the definition. So what it says, there should be sufficient degree of permanence. It is because once it is a premises, there is a degree of permanence. So this condition is satisfied. But as you move forward, what is the next condition? The next condition is, it says that which is characterized by sufficient degree of permanence, suitable structure of human technical resource to supply service. So first part is satisfied, that is sufficient degree of permanence. But whether this second part is satisfied, this is what is the key.
Yes, sir. It's look like exactly a business, but the thing is that it's not registered. But it is
So
a
I
suitable.
what I get is the word to is the most important. There may be some suppose he has assistant या guard को रखा हुआ है to या look after के लिए person रखा हुआ है, but that is not to supply the service.
Perfect. So this is exactly the point what I'm trying to make out. Perfect. So this is what is the point. So merely having a place will not make the place a fixed establishment until and unless the place has such structure which is to make the outward supply, or even the next part to receive the inward supply. But this next part is generally applicable whenever I am having this, as I said, I am on the recipient side of the definition. But the point is that when I am in this particular part of the definition of fixed establishment, why my flat or my offices which I'm given on rent will not be fixed establishment and hence not location because of this part. I hope everybody is clear with this. Right? Similarly, in my example of this works contractor, my example of works contractor, you can also again apply over here, and you will find that why the place where I'm carrying out that works contract, like the road, where I'm constructing the road or I'm laying the underground pipeline, that cannot be called as fixed establishment. Why? In fact, in that the first part is missing. Is there a sufficient degree of permanence? No. Second is, where is there a suitable structure? See, I am employing people on daily basis over there who are coming and doing the construction work they are going. Do I have a suitable structure in terms of human or technical resources over there? Technically, no. See, suitable structure means you have your own staff. I hope this is clear.
Yes, sir.
So these are the interesting differentiating points which I wanted to bring to light. And that is why I first gave the practical example, the practical case scenarios, so that when firstly you read the practical case scenario and come back first, it clears the questions and doubts. Also, you get a real world insight. And thirdly, now you will get to know why this provision or this point is very crucial, right? Is this fine with all?
Yes, sir. Very much clear, sir.
Excellent. Great. Yes, Swaminathan. Can you please read for me?
Yes, sir. Which class, sir?
Starting, entire section 12.
Okay, fine. Section 12. Place of supply of service, where location of supplier of service and the location of the recipient of service is in India. Subsection 1 of section 12. The
So
provision of
firstly, we come to section 12 for place of supply. To determine place of supply, now we are determining for services. We'll come to section 12 when both the locations are in India, supplier's location, recipient's location. It is immaterial where I am providing the service. I mentioned this earlier also, I'm repeating. My service may be provided outside India. Makes no difference. But if we both are in India, that is the supplier's location, recipient's location, you will check place of supply as per 12 only. Correct?
right, sir.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Subsection 1 of section 12. The provision of this section shall apply to determine the place of supply of services, where the location of supplier of services and the location of the recipient of services in India.
So, again, subsection repeats the same thing. So it is saying that whenever both locations are in India, for determining place of supply, you will follow this section only. So nothing new. Now we start with the main part. Please.
Yeah. Subsection 2 of section 12. The place of supply of services except the service specified in subsection 3 and 3 to 14.
Correct. So what it says now, subsection 2 is, you can say, the residuary provision. Generally, it comes at the last. They have given it at the first. That you have to first check if your service is falling in subsection 3, 4, 5 up to 14. If it is falling there, the place of supply will be decided as per that respective section. But if it is not falling there, then your place of supply will fall here. That is, it will be decided as per subsection 2. Now, let me tell you, majority of our CA services, whatever we are doing as chartered accountants, falls in subsection 2. So, in fact, subsection 2 is our subsection, right, to determine our services. So, now let us say it is income tax returns period where you are filing income tax returns. Now, you may be situated, let us say, in Karnataka, Bangalore, but you have clients from different parts because they are your friends. Now they are working in different organizations across India, but they are sending their income tax details to you. You sitting in your office are making and filing their returns. Now, in this particular case, where will be the place of supply? The answer is subsection 2. So again, with this practical thing in mind, that you are a chartered accountant doing income tax practice. Right now, we have the income tax returns due dates coming up. So you are filing the salary returns, the business returns, and your clients are across India in different places. What is the place of supply of your service? With this background, let us read. Yes, please read better.
Yes, sir. Clause A of subsection 2 of the section 12, made to a registered person shall be the location of such person.
Okay.
And clause B is talk about made to any person other than the registered person. Registered person shall be one, that the location of the recipient where the address on the record exists, and
Okay.
point number 2, the location of the supplier of service in other cases.
Perfect. So what it says, now here you'll understand the relevance of consumption part. So here you will find that in case of services specifically, they are trying to make the recipient's location as the place of supply. This is the key point which you should keep in mind. They are trying to make the recipient's place as the place of supply. How? Clause A says, if your recipient is a registered person, so for whoever you are doing this income tax work, if they are registered under GST, don't look at anything. Simply the recipient's place is your place of supply. So you have different business clients. These business clients are situated across India. And for all these business clients, you are providing the income tax filing services. So the place of supply will be their registered addresses wherever they are. B part is again, if let us say your clients are unregistered. Now this is a possibility. Why? Because majority of your clients are salaried, because right now it is a salary return season. Or even if they are not salaried, they are in business or profession, but because of their turnover, they have not yet taken registration under GST. Now in this particular case, you will be able to determine the place of supply as per clause B. Now what does clause B says? Even if your recipient is unregistered, whether the details of his address, that is the location, whether it exists in your records. Now this is interesting. They have not yet defined what it means, that whether it exists in your records means what. So the answer to this is that whenever you are filing income tax returns, which example I'm taking, you generally have the details of your clients, like generally you'll have the PAN and Aadhaar, which is now compulsory. Now, the moment you have it in your file, we say that you have his address on record. And once you have his address on record, as per 12(2)(b)(1), again, his address, wherever he is, becomes the place of supply. Only where you do not have his address on record, which is this clause or subclause 2, then your office address will be the place of supply. Now, this is going to be very rare, especially in our case. Why? Because in our case, now because of all the requirements of PAN and Aadhaar compulsion, by default, you will be having their details in your record. But in other cases, maybe in some other service cases, like where you are architect, where you are some other interior decorator, you may not always have their address on record. Maybe for them, this subclause may be required. Anyways, architect interiors are covered specifically below. So anyways, they are not covered in this, but I just gave you this example. So the point is, for all our services majorly will fall in either A, if our clients are registered, the place of supply is their location. Even if they are unregistered, still our client's address will be on our record. So again, your recipient's location will be the place of supply. Correct? Understood, all students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any
Clear, sir.
questions in this? Any questions? Any doubts in this?
Sir, sir, suppose the case that when I am taking car from Mumbai to
Mhm.
Gujarat, in that case my car is got repaired at Gujarat. I am getting service there.
Correct.
In that case,
Okay.
if I am not providing my address to him, then that is such a case.
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
the location of the place of
The
supply will
supplier,
be
then
the
that is the
supplier.
EHR C plus S.
Yes.
You have rightly mentioned it will be falling in this subclause 2 scenario. Correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Right, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. So I think we'll conclude our today's session here. In the next class, we'll complete 12 and 13 all case scenarios. In the meantime, please read all these scenarios so that you'll find more value whenever we discuss. It will be more value adding. And with this, thank you very much for again being a very participative and responsive student. So it was really great. So let us catch up again in the next class and let us deal with more provisions of place of supply of service. And please come ready and please come prepared with your questions.
Okay.
Keith is asking, do we have a class on Sunday? Yes, we do. There is no holiday on this Sunday or other any Sunday. Why you have a doubt? You are saying it is not on BOS. Let me check my schedule, which was given to me. If I remember it thoroughly, we have a class this Sunday because there is no reason why there should be no class this Sunday. So my schedule says, yes, 8th of August, which is today, and then again 10th of August. Yes, we have class. See, I think you are confused. There is no class on 15th of August, which is the next Friday, meaning 15th of August. But you do have classes 8th, 10th, 17th, means all these today, Sunday, and immediate next Sunday. So, Geet, I think there is some confusion at your end, but I checked my schedule. In my schedule, we have a class this Sunday.
So the classes will be on Friday and Sunday now.
Yes, now as per the new schedule of morning, it is Friday and Sunday every week, except the coming Friday because it is 15th of August.
Sure, sir. 7 to
Okay.
10.
7 to 10. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then, students, thank you all. Let us catch up again. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day.
Same.